It's Wednesday, September the 17th. Lake level is about 9, 11 1/4. It's gone down about 6 inches or so since last week. Water temperature is actually starting to come down. It depends where you're at. You know, the main lake's still 78, 79 degrees. But I've kind of been all over the lake. I've been Shell Knob, Kings River, around Kimberling. I've been up in the Upper James. But in the upper river arms, the water's a lot cooler. And fish are starting to get on a fall pattern back in there. There's some shad in the backs of the creeks and a lot of different things going on. But as far as on the main lake, you know, the drop shot bite, football jig, you know, most of that's still real good. And actually the past week or so, we've actually caught bigger Kentuckies and starting to get some bigger smallmouths on the football jigs. But a lot of the Kentuckies we've been catching on the drop shot, the majority of them were suspended a couple weeks ago. Now we're catching a lot more off the long flat gravel points, anywhere from about 35 feet to as deep as 45 feet, just a few feet off the bottom. And like earlier in the year, where I couldn't get bit off any of them conservation brush piles, starting to catch a lot of fish now on a drop shot over them conservation brush piles that are in that depth. It seems like the tree bite, the suspended bite, is definitely better, you know, if the sun is up. Dog's going crazy here. But without the sun, it seems like the fish are more on the flats. You know, I've been catching them like on a peanut butter and jelly football jig or a drop shot. And, you know, a green pumpkin orange on a football jig will work. I'm using like a twin-tailed chompers for a trailer. Now, as far as on the shallow bite, and where I'm fishing shallow, I mean, one of the keys is dirty water. So I'm fishing up in the river arms. I'm fishing about as far back as I can go in the pockets. And I've kind of got a mixture of things I'm throwing, but it's real shallow water where I'm fishing. A lot of times I'm actually stirring mud with the trolling motor. But the deepest water around me is probably 8 to 10 foot. And with the water low like this, there's not a whole lot of laydowns and shoreline cover. Most of the cover I'm fishing is out in the center of these pockets. It's laydowns or brush piles that people had set for when the water was higher. There's only 3 to 5 foot of water around some of the best ones. And I've been able to catch them whether it's cloudy or sunny. I've been throwing 2 different topwater baits. And usually on the topwater, I kind of mix it up. I'll go small bait, and the small bait I'm using is a popper, and it's a yellow magic. But a little popper or chug bug or any kind of, you know, small bait that'll spit will work, like a spitting image. And the other bait I'm throwing is a full-size topwater. This is a Vixen, but a Spook Junior, or a Super Spook will work as well. And like I say, it's kind of crazy. It's real shallow in there, and there's a lot of bait fish back in there. And I kind of been mixing it up. You know, I'll throw the crankbait. I'll make several casts with it. Now if I don't get bit on that, I'll throw the topwater in there. And crankbaits, I'm throwing shallow running crankbaits. This is a 1.5 Strike King. But a little Bandit 100 will work, a -1 will work. And you don't want anything that's running too deep, because in the back of them pockets where there's a lot of mud, there's a lot of leaves and debris. So you don't want to get down there and dig in the mud. What you want to do is throw this right in the middle of the brush, bump it off it, pause it for a second. And I've been able to catch, you know, 2, sometimes 3 fish off of just 1 or 2 little sticks. Another thing that will also work is a spinnerbait. Now, you know, like I said a minute ago, with the lake low, there's not a lot of cover in there, but there is in the center. But what I've been able to do in these areas, if I've got 6 or 8 pieces of structure to throw at, I can go through and fish them. Then I can get on whatever side of the bank has got a channel on it where there's a little bit deeper water. And I've been able to get up in there with either that shallow running crankbait, or if there's like 6 to 8 foot of water with a little mixed rock on it, I've been taking a 3/8 ounce Snowden jig, any kind of green pumpkin, orange, PBJ, you know, any kind of brown or green will work. I'm not finding there's any specific color. And I'm just throwing it right up to the bank. If there's a lay down or any kind of rock there, just working it through that. And like I said, you know, a key to that is usually in the fall, the shad start to migrate back into creeks. I'm not finding this happening, you know, on the main lake where the water's clearer. Seems to be working for me. I've done it up in the Kings River. I've done it up in the Upper James and up in Flat Creek in the past week. So, you know, and most of those fishermen largemouth, and we've had some 3 to 4.5 pound fish, which, I mean, may not sound like a huge fish, but the way fishing has been here lately, you know, with the weights anywhere from 12 to 14 pounds a day, 3.5, 4 pounds is a really good quality fish. So, you know, we should start to see some of that happening. If the temperatures will stay cool, we'll start to see that happen in the main lake. But it is starting to happen in the river arms. Now, as far as up in the river, you know, I'm struggling as far as trying to catch them on any kind of drops or ledges. Seems like I got to be as far back in the creeks or the pockets as you can go. So that's something that should just get a little bit better, and it should move on down lake some. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.